Okay, guys, I'm here today with the King, Gordon Ryan. We're pretty much like 1 month after the ADCC or so. So, Gordon, first of all, congratulations. Like, I had never seen any performance like that in my life. Like, I was watching the ADCC, and honestly, like, to me, it was almost looking like every match was a fake match because it was so freaking easy that I don't even know what to say. But anyways, guys, today Gordon is going to show us here how to defend strangles, and he just shot an entire instructional all about how to escape from strangles, and I think this is one huge advantage that you have against everybody, Gordon, because you trust so much on your submission escapes that even if you fail, which is not happening, you're never like in a dangerous spot, kind of, right?
Yeah, that's where the confidence from the offense comes. Is if you know that even if you mess up a submission and you overextend yourself and you wind up in a bottom pin or you wind up in a deep submission, and you have the confidence that you know if this guy's in side control, if this guy has a fully locked triangle, within 30 seconds I can get out and I can be right back onto his legs. I can be right back onto his back. And I'm into some kind of attacking position. You're going to be able to open up a lot more in your offense and go for attacks much more so than you would be if you had a mindset going in where, man, if this guy passes my guard, I'm never going to escape. If this guy gets to a submission, he's going to finish me. So that confidence that's built around this strong defensive posture is something that is super important. There hasn't been many times in competition recently where people have had me in fully locked strangles because they don't get that far into their attack, so there's not that much competition.
I don't remember one submission attempt on you in the last, like, 5 years or so. Like
I mean, there was a couple like Buchecha tried to heel hook him, but not any. There wasn't any serious submission attempts. I mean, Kainan had a couple of front headlocks, but nothing where I was like, man, like he's gonna tap. I think the last one that was probably close was 2017 versus Craig in the EBI, the armbar.
Yep. But even though it started in the in the position, right?
And the other close time was I mean, obviously Penna finished me in the strangle, but that was 2016. And then Yuri got close to finishing me from EBI overtime in 2016 as well. So there's a couple times where I was in strangles, but nothing recently. And I have a lot of good stuff. You just haven't seen it in competition.
Oh, and I watched you training, and you literally give up the submissions. That was the craziest thing when one day I watched you training. You were literally letting everybody get the mount on you and do the armbar, and you escape from armbar.
Yeah.
And said I saw you putting yourself on bad spots as well for strangles and this and that, and you would get out so easy.
Yeah, everyone always asks like, oh man, does anyone ever submit you in training? I'm like, yeah, constantly, because my whole a big part of my training program is just to put myself in bad positions and then work back into offensive cycles as I escape the positions. So I get submitted a lot in training, which is why you don't really see me in too much danger when I'm competing.
Yeah, no, that's insane. But anyways, can you demonstrate a little bit of like what's coming for this instructional?
Yeah, so we're going to go into obviously guillotines. That will be a big part of it. Darces, kagetames, things like that. I'm not going to touch on rear naked escapes because I covered that a lot. I covered that very deeply in the back escapes instructional, so different upper body configurations and leg configurations, so we won't do too much of that. But a lot of it's built around triangles, and there are 5 distinct triangle groups that you can look at. Most people, when they talk about triangles, it's just front triangle, but there's front triangles, there's back triangles, there's reverse triangles like Braulio hit Andre with, there's side triangles, there's a bunch of different triangles that you can work to. So we're going to be looking at, we're going to start with triangles, then work through front headlocks, and then go into some kagetames and things like that, and then just work all the way through there until we get through all the high percentage strangles in the sport.
Got it. Gordon, so you mentioned the guillotine, and I think guillotine is one that everybody is super curious about how to escape. Can you just show me here what are the basics, just so everybody has some sort of idea?
Yeah, so with guillotines, what you're trying to look to do is to stop your opponent from controlling your legs and especially your hips. The deeper you get into a situation where your partner gets closer and closer to locking their legs around your hips and locking a closed guard or a mount, for example, the tighter the guillotine is going to be. So one very conservative thing that we can do when we feel like our partner goes to sit into a guillotine, this is the most conservative, most easy way to do it, is just immediately go into a roll where as I roll through, I create motion towards an escape, and then I recenter my head on the roll through. So whether he snaps me down, whether he's heisting and snaps me into a front headlock, whether he goes from or into a guillotine, or whether he starts we're wrestling and he goes from a front headlock to a guillotine, the second I feel the guy go to sit down, I'm just going to go into a defensive roll, and I'm going to, as I roll through, I'm going to post on the hips, disconnect my legs away from his, so he can't hook my legs, he can't hook my hips, and then recenter my head and go back into an attack as we move into turtle position. So if Bernardo, for example, goes to put a guillotine in place, the second he goes to sit, I immediately go through, I post on the hip so he can't move towards me and lock closed guard. And now from here, as he goes to pull me in, we just roll on through. He goes to follow me, and as he goes to follow me, I just recenter my head. My head comes out, and now we're back into offense. I'm ready to go in on the attack. So this is the most conservative one, and then obviously we have to go through later and later escapes where he gets a half guard, he gets a closed guard, and we have to look for escapes from there. But the most conservative one that we can do is the second you feel pressure come on, just go into a defensive roll, come up to turtle, and now you're fighting with your head out and you're ready to go.
And I love the concept of blocking the hip. I've never seen that. I knew about rolling, and I knew about trying to go to the other side and that, but blocking the hip and keeping that distance, that's
blocking
huge.
the hips, blocking the knees, same thing standing. Someone locks a guillotine, you can always expect him to either drag you down or jump into a guard. If he locks a guillotine, he wants to bring his hips in. So I just go here. When he gets to finish me or jump guard or pull guard,
I'm already losing the
it's a pretty easy thing to go in and start making sure that he can't jump onto you, control your legs, control your hips. So the whole thing with guillotines is what we don't want is a situation where he can lock up and then lock a closed guard.
Ooh. Or a closed guard, okay.
This is going to be, that's going to be a tough. Now we have late escapes for that, but if possible, we want to make conservative, rolling through, recentering the head, and doing early escapes rather than late escapes. But we work through the earliest, most conservative escapes, then this kind of mid-tier defense where he's starting to pull me in, and then late escapes where we're in a fully locked closed guard and we get beat from that position.
And I was thinking here, even if I try to go to the mount, the fact that you are blocking my hip is going to be really hard, right?
You can't, yeah.
Okay. You know, go here and then start rolling. Then if I try, yeah, there's no way. I got it. All right, that's amazing. Wow, that's incredible.
Makes it hard for your hips to follow on posting on the hips, posting on the knees.
Well, Gordon, one thing that I think a lot of people don't understand, because they don't have the opportunity to share the mats with you, is that everybody sees you in the peaks and you're crazy strong and that, and they think that it's about conditioning, but every time I share the mats with you, I see that the conditioning might be this, and what you know about Jiu-Jitsu is it's like, in my opinion, it's like how much you know about Jiu-Jitsu, then your mindset, then the condition is almost like a detail compared to.
It's the smallest part of the puzzle, you know, ultimately what matters is efficiency. If I'm more efficient than you, you're going to be working harder than me, and then your work rate is going to be so much higher than mine that no matter how much your VO2 max, no matter how much of a discrepancy in VO2 max, which is cardio, if your work rate's that much higher than mine, it doesn't matter how much cardio you have, you're going to get much tired much faster. So the whole thing is just building efficiency so that you can get a higher work rate out of your opponent than you're working yourself.
Yeah, another thing that I was thinking as well, after the ADCC, I was really thinking like, man, what makes Gordon? I have no doubts that your mindset helps and that, but also having like a guy 24 hours per day is studying Jiu-Jitsu and give you every single possible system in Jiu-Jitsu, and you are the guy who actually grabbed the knowledge, because not everybody can grab that knowledge. It's hard, but you have such an ability to make everything so like clarity.
Yeah, everyone asks me like, "Oh man, what makes you different from everyone else?" I'm like, "Well, I just listen to everything John says. Like if he tells me something, if he told me something in 2015, I remember it, and to this day, I'm just gonna do it. Like John says something, I do it, and then I'm successful."
No, and it's funny because now we work with John since 2018, you since 2019, and now there was a lot of stuff that John told me in 2018 that makes a lot of sense right now, like seeing it, so it's just
he always ends up right. Sometimes you listen to him, you're like, yeah, I don't know about that, and then like 4 years later, you're like, oh man, he was right.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. But anyways, guys, Gordon just shot an entire instruction all about strangle escapes. So as you guys can see here, he just showed this detail about the guillotine, which is really simple, and I don't think many people knows. And he knows all these details and concepts about pretty much every single position. That's why you don't see him in danger ever. And I watched him training, and it's just unbelievable. He gives away the submissions, and people still cannot tap him. And so make sure to check it out. It's going to be at bjjfanatics.com, and maybe by the time you're watching, it's already there. So thanks so much, Gordon.
Thanks, guys.
Please help me out to grow my YouTube channel. Just click subscribe. And to watch more videos, just click under see more videos. I hope you enjoyed.
BJJFanatics.com. Use the promo code YouTubeFaria to get 10% off any instructional video. Improve your jiu-jitsu faster.